Your source for all things Texas Tech. This is the Ask Level podcast from Double T 97.3.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome into another episode of the Ask Level podcast. Alongside Chris Level, I'm Chois Woodman. This podcast, as usual, brought to you by our friends at Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Level, this is the strange time of year. Everything's kind of wrapping up as far as school goes. We just had graduation for Texas Tech. Saw a lot of names on that list from an athletic standpoint. You've got the regionals going on for softball, baseball regionals are getting ready, Big 12 tournaments, all sorts of stuff there. Wes Kitley's just racking up more championships. So we got plenty to dive into.
Yeah, Texas Tech has been in the news for all the right reasons recently, and there's times when we say things about certain subjects or people prone to hyperbole, prone to embellishment, and all the things. Wes Kitley is as good at what he does as anybody that's ever stepped foot on that campus from an athletic standpoint, period.
Yeah, no one can argue
It's when you start, because it's like national championship, but put an S on the end. Big 12 championship, but put an S on the end. These are plural. Like we're seeing right now, like it's just kind of unprecedented success in a program, while not high profile in some respects. It is so impressive, and it just seems to be getting better and consistent. And those are the hardest things to do, is when you're really good and you're kind of a staple in the top 10, is to stay there and then even maybe improve a bit on it. But it's just, the guy is just awesome. He's gold. Again, give him a freeway, give him a statue, give him something, because you're just not going to see another individual like this. And Woodman, I think this is like year 26. So you talk about somebody that epitomizes like Lubbock and Texas Tech and West Texas, and he's had plenty of opportunities to go elsewhere and wanted no part of it. I'm gonna stay right here and build a monster, and he's done just that.
And he was nothing but a winner before he got here too.
Correct. They have a track meet named after him at his previous stop. So this is like Texas Sports Hall of Fame type stuff. This is
easily,
all the Tech stuff is where he belongs in the Hall of Honor, Hall of Fame, whatever. But like in his own sport and the state of Texas. Anyway, so I didn't mean to get off on a.
No,
I didn't want to bury the lead, and he's the lead right now. I think to your point, what Jerry Glasgow has done with softball, because this is year one.
Yeah.
Right. But this is their version of like the 2008 football season. This will be the season that everybody compares everything else to. Remember that year, and hopefully next year is even better. But this is the one that stands. It's the best season in program history, which is.
Yeah, and it's been it's been fun to watch because of how much they've improved throughout the season. Yeah, there was success early, but the way they've played as of late, it starts to make you think, hey, this team could do something. You could potentially get to Oklahoma City. We'll have to go through Florida State, but it was a fun weekend in Lubbock, getting to see the regional and everybody piling on for it. So, Level, it makes me wonder. Because you've been at this for a long time, and there's people that are older than us that have been Tech fans for a long time. But This school year, this academic year has to be up in the upper echelon when it comes to successes of your programs. You've got 8 Big 12 titles, which has never happened before when you're counting tournaments and regular season titles. 8 Big 12 titles. That's the most of any team in the Big 12 right now. So, where does this stack up among years that you've had successes as an athletics department?
Well, I mean, I think you kind of answered your own question. I mean, I think this is probably because what? Okay, let's take this in reverse order here. What struggled? Baseball struggled.
Hmm.
Um, Volleyball struggled.
Volleyball did. Women's basketball struggled.
Women's basketball struggled. Anybody else struggle?
I think
Like I'm probably not. I don't have enough walking around knowledge about like women's golf. Men's golf
golf,
did not
women's
struggle.
golf. Yeah, they didn't struggle. They just didn't get the rankings up
And
enough
what
because
about men's tennis?
men's tennis struggled. Yeah,
Okay, yeah. So
women's tennis
so
did really
so
well.
so
Yeah.
so that's it. Everybody else was in the postseason,
Hmm.
holding up a championship. Yeah, I mean, and like you look at hoops. I mean, it was, it wasn't as far as you've gotten, but
Right.
it came really close.
Right.
Um, and then obviously with this track stuff, and there's still more chapters in that book to be written. I know I think there's some concern about some of Wes's top end folks, if they'll be
Sure.
ready for regionals, national type stuff. That'll play out early next week.
Hmm.
And I think there's because they won this thing and he didn't even have all of his best athletes running. I mean that's how dominant they were. One of his top sprinters did not even participate, and there's some hamstring issues and all that, and those are tricky. So I don't know if you'll be able to make a ton of noise at nationals, but maybe.
Yeah.
And all that. But that chapter is still being written, and so is the softball book that
Right.
we're writing.
Right.
Anyway, but yeah, this is yeah. I would say that certainly with so many people just like look at what you do in like say football and that
Right.
and everything else is as extra, but no, like from the extra category, I mean, you've kind of lapped it, haven't you? I
Yeah,
mean,
I think so. We obviously weight football and men's basketball. Those are weighted more when we have these conversations. But if it's a blanket across, it's hard to say this isn't your
and like
best
Tom
year.
Stone's soccer
Yeah, did
team.
really
I'm just
well.
trying to I just try to think of some of the other. Um, but like I don't know, what Wes is different that Wes is different in that they've they've won national championships.
Yep.
I mean that's like I said. I mean that's just why you're in a different category than most. So
And
and
you did
and deservedly so.
and you did speak football. This is your best football season you've had in 15, 16 years in the program. I mean, most regular season wins, most Big 12 wins. You did have a good football year as well. So I think the
Yeah,
only
but
one.
Woodman, I want more.
Oh, I do too. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying it's the
Had
best
you
you've
had
had.
you had you just won one more football game, we would shift this conversation. And like you had played for a Big 12 championship, we
Yeah.
would have shifted this conversation into a bit of a different
Oh, for sure.
category for sure. Um, because you were left wanting a little bit more. And and I've had these conversations with people as I think I was listening to Big 12 radio recently, the tune in offering, and they were having a conversation about because of all this Texas Tech success. And I think their question was, is Texas Tech the Big 12's Texas now? And so I'm like, well, okay, what do they mean by that?
Hmm.
And because I think people see money being spent, they're
Right.
starting to see some
Right.
championships won. Are you the biggest brand and all that? And I don't know if you've checked any of those boxes yet. I don't really know if you're there yet, but I think the point is that you're maybe the most relevant. You're maybe moving the needle the most. Like program wide, not just specific sport.
Sure.
I think BYU probably has something to say there as well.
Agreed.
And they had a much better football season than you did, and they didn't quite have as good of a basketball season, but they were relevant. And anyway, it's been fun to watch. I always get a kick out of watching the fans that support these programs and that haven't had success before, watching them have so much fun. I get a kick out of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That pleases me. And I did, man. I know I told you the same thing last week. I watched every bit of that regional. I watched every pitch versus Brown. I watched both
Yeah.
games versus Mississippi State. Got a little stressful on Sunday
It did.
as a blister started to pop up on your star pitcher's hand a little bit, and she just didn't quite have it. And Mississippi State's good. So.
Sure.
But and Kirby and Diane sitting right there, and Joey's sitting in the third or fourth row right behind home plate. I mean, I just again, this goes back to everybody being aligned and everybody being on the same page, and but now it's got to happen in the fall.
Yep. Yep. And I think there are
It's got
there's
to happen
obviously
in the fall.
there's things you can draw to it as well, comparisons,
Yeah.
and we'll see. It's got to happen in the fall. That's pretty simple. All right, we're gonna scatter shoot level because I got quite a few questions that are all over. Let's start with softball since we were just talking about it. But is this softball? Someone asks if this softball season is a success, regardless of what happens moving forward. Do you consider it a success, even if you don't get to Oklahoma City?
Maybe I have a different take. I think you're already there. I think what anything past this is gravy. Some may you could easily get into this super regional and go, man, we should have won it. We could have won it. They're not better than we are. Whatever, if it doesn't go well, I just feel like when you win a Big 12 title, when you win the Big 12 tournament title and don't allow teams to score a run on you, when you host a regional and advance, I just feel like, boy, you've achieved what you set out to do, and now you're kind of trying to push the bar higher. But I can in no way say that
Mhm.
this was a failure. You didn't do
Yeah,
this if you don't get past Florida State. I would refuse to listen to that argument. And I'm not saying that you're supposed to win or supposed to lose here. I just feel like I can't. This is all firsts.
exactly.
And so I can't, regardless of how much money was spent or what pitcher you have, or I mean, it's year one of a coach.
Sure.
This is
Sure.
all brand new. There was no culture here.
Right.
So that's my read on it. And again, my opinion.
I I think your opinion is correct. Opinions are supposed to have some leeway, but I think it's correct. It's successful. It doesn't mean they won't want more if they do fall short in Tallahassee or if they do fall short of Oklahoma City or a national title. But I think that you're exactly right. You have gone to heights that you haven't been to for this program. So it's a success and hopefully a big cornerstone to build a program on. All right, let's shift over to men's basketball. This question is from John. It says, Level, do you have any update on Darrion Williams? Any chance he comes back? And is Texas Tech still going after a point guard?
I mean, I'm not gonna ever sit here and say that there's not a chance that he would come back here. Um, I don't buy that. But I don't think that is likely. I think that is I think there's other opportunities out there for on both sides of this deal, and I think that both parties will and have explored those opportunities. If that
Mhm.
makes sense.
Yep.
Um, and it's funny because I would say that if he were to come back, and we've talked about this a little bit, but if he were to come back, it doesn't alter the other question that you just asked. And I
Sure.
think that's what's interesting is that that doesn't, you'd almost create a bit of a logjam
Hmm.
if he were to come back and it could squeeze somebody else out, like somebody that you just recently have acquired or added, could go, man, okay, well, what's going on here? I mean, it could, and I
Right.
think that I think the best way I can say this, Woodman, is that at the onset of the portal window opening, everybody did what was best for them at the time. And now we're here, and I think Darrion wanted to explore NBA opportunities, and he wanted to put his name in the portal
Hmm.
to cover himself. Texas Tech, on the flip side, operated in that we've got to do what's best for us right now with the information that we've got.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a bird in the hand deal. Do we chance it? Do we sit here over in the corner and just hope and pray that he will come back? No, you didn't do that. You sought other options. And again, this is just the way it worked out. And I
Yeah.
think it would have been bad business to sit and wait and hope that okay, hope I mean, I just think you could have put yourself in a bit of a bind.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's that. I think he has not lit it up at the NBA Combine. I think that the mock drafts that I've seen are like mid 40s. That is non-guaranteed money. I do think we may not know this. I'm of the opinion he's sitting on either a guarantee from either Kansas or Ohio State. That where if he pulls out of the draft by the deadline, which is coming up here pretty quick, that he will have an opportunity for a soft landing at one of those two institutions.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying that is a fact. That's my read on it. There may be somebody else, door number three or whatever. I've even seen Arizona mentioned a little bit, but I think it's Kansas and Ohio State. That's my take. I do think that uh, I'm of the opinion, and I would guess most Texas Tech fans would be rooting for him to either stay in the draft or go to Ohio State.
I think you're right.
And that's my selfish take on it. I don't want to
Sure
play
is.
against the guy. And I don't fault him for exploring his opportunities at the time, but I also don't fault Texas Tech for trying to do what's best
Yeah.
for them
You have
with
to.
with the information that they had at the time. So this
Yeah.
is how we've ended up here. And the answer is yes. I do think you are still on the lookout for another guard. We know the name of Ben Hanschel that is in the going through the draft process. What I'd love to know, what I don't know is okay. If not him, then who? Is it him or bust? Because I do think you need another guard, and that's my read on it. Grant may have a completely different take on it, but I feel like you are going after Hanschel because he's really good, but there's a need there, and I don't think that need changes if you just like don't get him.
Sure.
You know what I mean? The need is still there, so we'll see.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's.
Yes.
Yes. I mean it's simple. You need a point guard. Um. Okay. So we've done
And,
soft.
and, and I would even say you just need another guard. I'm not saying you need to go find another point. You need a guard. I think that's kind of what Hanschel is. He's a combo guard
Sure.
that can play the point. You don't necessarily need a pure point. You need a guard. And I think because I think he's gonna play some point for you and all that. So anyway, we'll see what they come up with. Because keep in mind we're not even. I mean, it was late May, early June before you even added JT Toppin last year. I mean, I remember the year before, it was like late in the summer when Devin
Yeah.
Cambridge and Warren Washington joined your team. You still have a ways to go, and he's still got a staff member to hire too.
Hmm.
Staff
Sure.
member or two to hire, depending on how you view that.
Well, I think there's so many different ways to cook an egg. There's a lot of different ways to get a.
Your favorite way
Oh
is
gosh. I'm probably it actually changes, but I'm probably in an omelet phase right now. I'm a big omelet
yeah,
guy. So.
okay. I'm only down with the omelet if I see them crack open the eggs and cook it in front of me.
Oh, you don't like the sauce and the
I don't like the jug and
the
they pour
jug?
the stuff because I want to know what's going on in that jug.
It's just
Out
eggs.
of a is it out of a carton?
Okay.
Is
You know what?
it
I get that. I get that.
and there's a way that I like to scramble eggs. I'm thinking there's a little titch of you gotta have some cheese like in
Hmm.
there. You gotta have some heavy cream, just a titch
I'm
to
with you.
create
Yeah.
the softness of it, and then a
Yeah.
little either salt and pepper or remnants of some bacon or sausage grease in there. That is the way I would prefer to have scramble an egg.
You
Okay.
want to come over and cook right now for me? Because that all sounds really good.
Because this
I'm
is
in.
because this is what occasionally when we do breakfast for dinner at the Level
Oh
household,
man.
I'm in charge of the eggs, and that's how I roll. I learned that from my wife's grandfather. But it's just a little bit of heavy cream goes.
Hmm.
It goes a long way. Maybe not the
So
healthiest way to go about it,
probably
but
not, but still,
yeah, yeah. I'll leave Woodman for the egg white omelet crowd.
I
We're
never said
we're
egg white.
okay. Sorry, but yeah.
Omelet.
Okay, back to the. Sorry, I
Okay.
totally like.
So,
Yeah.
well, I mean, I'm the one who sidetracked you. There's a lot of ways to cook an egg. There's a lot of ways, paths to a championship. You can win a lot of different ways. I think a lot of us Red Raider fans were spoiled so much by having an Elijah Hawkins that it was that pure point
Oh
guard.
yeah.
And
Hmm.
you kind of want to run it back from last year. And you got Lawan Watts, you got a lot of similar pieces. Watts obviously is kind of your Darrion Williams of this team. You have Christian Anderson back. You have some shooters on the team. You obviously have JT Toppin. So it does feel like in terms of the run it back, you're just missing that pure point guard.
I guess this team's going to be a bit different, Woodman. I think this. I don't know if this team is necessarily built to have like say mini games where seven different players make a three.
Okay.
Maybe,
Okay.
maybe. I think you have more juice on the wings than you did last year because one of your starters was simply a catch and shoot guy that really
Right.
struggled on defense. And as
Right.
much as Kerwin could fill it up and explosive, have those runs where it's like he just poured in three of them, just like bang, bang, bang. You've added some pieces now that can finish on the break. They can be a one-man fast break. They can get by people on the offensive end. They can put more pressure on a team at the free throw line than maybe what you could last year when at times you really weren't able to major in that. I think that's what was so fun about that team, like the 18-19 and the 17-18, that 2 year run
Yeah.
where you went to the Elite Eight and then won the Final Four. They weren't as good of a shooters as like say like a group of as like they were last year. However, they could really put pressure on a team and get them in a bind and in foul trouble, but live at the free throw line. And I gather that's kind of what you may be flirting with a little bit here. So again, it could look a little bit different, but I wanna call timeout on this conversation just because if you add Ben Hanschel to this thing, you and I are going to spend a couple of different shows
Yeah.
talking about all the possibilities
Sure.
because this could be a really really fun addition that would take you to a different place. At least expectation wise, at least skill wise, size wise, all the things. So, but let's just reserve judgment and see how they finish it up, and then we'll kind of that's my take. But we can we
Sure.
can keep talking about it. But
Sure.
I don't disagree. I'd love to have Elijah Hawkins back,
That
but
would be fun.
yeah, but that's yeah, because he was a lot of fun. So
Yeah. Yeah. No doubt. All right. Shifting over to baseball now. Our next topic. This one comes from Keith. Says, do you think Kirby Hocutt would ask Tadlock to make staff changes? And do you think Tadlock would be willing to make those changes? He seems like a pretty loyal guy.
I think Tim is a very loyal guy. I don't know. Okay, so people ask these questions. Sometimes this legitimately does happen in the football realm and occasionally in the basketball realm, but really this is a football kind of topic to bring up in that, okay, hey man, we're gonna bring you back, but man, we got to do something different. We got to sell something to the fans. We need to, whatever. And that's kind of what Matt Wells went through a few years ago with David Yost. I don't think he fought for his guy. I think he wanted to keep Coach Yost, and I
Hmm.
think it was just kind of like, okay, it's either we make this move or everybody's got to go, and so you're kind of forced. I'm
Sure.
not saying that's exactly what happened, but I think that's my
Right.
read on it. And so you bring in Sonny Cumby and all the deal. Um, I don't know that there's the pressure here yet to like, hey man, you better make some changes or else. But I do think you will see something different next year. Yes. How extensive,
Yeah.
how that remains to be seen. But I believe that there will be some changes. And again, it's the definition of insanity. It seems to be
Sure.
trending the wrong way. Some of this may be out of coach's control. Maybe it needs to be about NIL. Maybe it needs to be about let's get more involved in the portal. Let's not recruit and try to develop as like we've done. We need to. I don't know that. And you know this, Woodman. You work with those people over there. Some of those guys are legit. They didn't just forget what's going on. I
Oh,
mean, Tim's
sure.
taking the team to the College World Series, J Bob and the whole deal, and
I mean,
Ray Hayward and
those guys have been there for all the
yes,
College World Series.
yes.
So
And I will say, once you're rolling and you lose it, it's really hard to get it back.
agreed. Yep.
Doesn't mean you can't. That's just in sports, college specifically, it's really hard to get it back.
Yeah.
Unless something changes or unless you just kind of alter the way you're doing things or whatever. So we should because at the end of the day, you can point to coaching all you want. Their roster isn't good enough. It's just not near as talented as it used to be.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
mean, so and here's the real sobering thought, Woodman. Not only did you struggle because you're what are you, the eighth seed or the ninth seed in the Big 12 tournament?
Ninth seed. Yep.
Ninth seed. Okay, so you're playing Cincinnati for the right to play West Virginia, who won the league championship in the second game.
Correct.
And the next loss or the next well, it's a double elimination. Sorry. So
No,
so
no, they went single this year.
okay,
So
so single. Sorry. So the
yes.
next loss, your season's over.
Yes.
The toughest pill to swallow here is that you're extremely average slash bad this year, comparatively speaking, based on previous expectations. And it's in a really bad league. This league is not very good.
Yep.
It doesn't check the boxes nationally like it used to. You've got two teams hovering around West Virginia and TCU are like really the only top 25. I mean, I don't know how many,
Hmm.
remember used to it's like, okay, how many teams could host out of this deal? Man, that is
Right.
just so far. And so you really struggled, but you really struggled in a bad league. That's even makes it worse.
It does.
So,
Yeah.
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 So, anyways,
And
we'll
I
we'll
think
see what
that's what's,
happens.
yeah, I think that is the frustrating thing is that it's there for the taking. The league or just getting to the postseason in this league is there for the taking. But the number of just close losses and woulda,
I
shoulda,
know.
couldas from this season was just
You just
piled up.
couldn't get enough people out.
Yeah.
And you can point to Coach Gardner and people I've seen all that I know Matt, I think he's good people.
Hmm.
Eh, They've got to figure out a way. And I'm not trying to like blame the players here, but you've collectively they need to figure out how to have talent similar to what they used to. How do
Yeah.
we get to that point? What can we do to have all conference types sprinkled throughout the deal and have a dude on a Friday night and a dude on a Saturday and then maybe a third guy? Because right now you get to the middle of the week and they just don't have the arms. It
Yeah.
just doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So
Yep. It's one of those years that makes you reevaluate everything for sure.
yeah, and that's the way it works. It's sports.
All right, one more is a football question level. Like this one. This one comes from Matt. It says Shieldwood had a top 25 defense last year. Mac Leftwich had a top 10 offense last year. Which is more likely for Texas Tech this year, a top 25 defense or a top 10 offense?
And is this is like total defense and total offense and like yards
Total
per
op,
game?
I believe that's where those
Yeah,
numbers would
okay.
be. Yeah.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna give you a weird answer here. I'm gonna
Okay.
say that Because you're asking most likely or more likely.
More likely if you get one or the other.
I feel like, which this may be a crazy statement to make. Oh, this is a tough question to answer. Okay, so here's how I was going to answer it. Now maybe I'm going to hit pause on that. I was going to say to you, I think it's more likely on the defensive side of things, and that you may not do that on the offensive side of things because of the defense. Like, so
Okay.
you may, in no way am I suggesting you're going to like play field position and punt and do the thing. But I bet you sprinkle that in some
Hmm.
if your defense is what you hoped. Now, okay, here's what I'm going to argue with myself. This is the problem with me sometimes is I'm like,
Well, you
okay,
can
okay,
convince
Chris,
yourself a couple
okay,
different ways. Yeah.
okay, Chris. Is it realistic to go from like 123rd to a top 25? That's quite the leap.
That's an enormous leap. Yeah.
And here's why I'm really going to argue with myself. As much as I may love what they brought in and Coach Wood and all those things, you've got some legit quarterbacks in this league this
Hmm.
year.
You do.
It's the best collection of QB. And now to be fair, you don't have to play some of them. There
Hmm.
is no, you don't have to play Rocco Becht. You don't have to play Sawyer Robertson again. You don't have to play Josh Hoover,
Hmm.
Noah Fafita. And maybe with that, I'll stick with my answer. But
Okay.
I think that's more likely. But it maybe the offense is not that just because of the defense. I'm not super confident in my answer there, but that's what I'm going to go with. That's what I'm going to go with.
I think you're in a good situation because you went and got two coordinators that were really good at what they did last year.
Yeah, historically have done really well.
Yeah,
However, keep in mind the body of work there is not like they've just done it for 10 or 15 years. This is
sure.
like a couple of 2 or 3 years stints,
Hmm.
and it's a different deal with competition and all that. Now, Coach Wood, some of that may be about who you play, and we'll just have to see how much better you can actually get because they will be better, but the bar is low there. But is
Right.
it top 25 good? Is it top 40 good? If you told me you could be top 40 good, I'd take it and run right now. And like you
Absolutely.
can't, no takebacks.
How many times have we sat here in Lubbock, Texas, and talked about if you only had a defense that was top
Yeah.
75, if you only had a defense that was top 60, if you only had a defense that was just good enough, your offense has been that good to win games for you. I mean,
Hmm.
we sat here so many years, and really, I think expectations are higher than that for Shield Wood and for all the players that you brought in on this defense. But really, that it might be one of those years that if you just have a defense that's good enough to take you from almost dead last in passing defense to just good enough, I think Mac Leftwich will have an offense that's good enough to still carry this team to pretty high heights this year.
High
Hopefully,
heights.
high
High
heights.
heights. Yeah.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. Should be fun to see all of the new that's there for football this year. Level, I covered a lot of different topics, a lot of ground today, and it was
So it
fun.
makes the off season fun.
Yeah.
While it's not a lot of fun because we like being in the grind of the seasons and all that stuff. But yeah, I appreciate all the questions. Thank you to Cantex Roofing for sponsoring this and what we do here. Woodman is very kind to sit here and put up with me for 35-ish minutes weekly. So anyway, I hope everybody has a good week and may all the graduations out there, if they're still going on for you, may those
Hmm.
be. You know what I have to do later this week?
What do you got to do?
I had to do this last year. It's one of the most stressful things I literally have ever done. I have to do it again in
You
an
have to read the
arena
names.
in an arena full of people. I have to read like 600 plus names
Oh man.
of the Lubbock Cooper High School graduating class, and you've never feared for your life, like mispronouncing someone's
Oh
name
man.
and
Yeah.
frustrating mom and dad in their one moment. And
Yep.
Yeah, it's a bit much.
Oh,
And so
oof.
I've kind of got this knot in my stomach, and I'm days away from said event. So say s- s- when you hit your knees tonight, man, just say a little something for Chris for me, would you please?
There we go.
That please that I'm able to roll my R's, or I'm able to pronounce the silent Z if there's one, or I don't know, whatever, man. But yeah, I will try to get through that one again. And why I agreed to do it, it's almost like I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. But it's like I wasn't
Yes.
excited about it. Yeah.
I don't envy
It's
you, but
because
we're
nobody
all
else
rooting for you.
it's because nobody else wants to do it. It's like a
Exactly.
thankless, very stressful job. Those are the
Absolutely.
worst jobs too. So
Yep. Yep. No
anywho,
doubt. Well, good
all
luck.
right, but
We're rooting for you.
are you? I feel like some days, man, you may root for me to fail, Woodman. And
No, no, I think there are times that it's funny for you to fail, but this is not one of them. You don't want
see,
angry
I knew
parents or
it.
grandparents.
I sniffed you out. I knew it. Yeah, but
Just
no,
for fun.
this is not one of those
No,
times that
not at all.
I need to be on point, and I will try.
Not at all.
So
All
anyway,
right, Chris. Appreciate it, man. Good stuff as usual.
okay. See you, brother. Keep hope alive. See you, man.
That's Chris Level. I'm Choice Woodman. This has been the Ask Level podcast powered by Double T 97.3.
You've been listening to the Ask Level podcast, powered by Double T 97.3.